thread is a pretty important part of embroidery. It is the main thing you see when you look at your finished project. So you want to make sure that you pick the thread that's going to be the best for whatever project you're embroidering. But it can be kind of overwhelming when you're shopping for thread because there's so many different kinds out there and so many different details to think about. But you can really think about two main things when you're shopping for thread. That's weight and fiber content. Thread weight refers to the thickness of the thread. 40 weight is considered standard in machine embroidery. So this is the weight that the machine and the software, the files, everything assumes you'll be using when it stitches out the design. So all the settings are kind of based off of a 40 weight thread. But you might want to change the weight of your thread depending what you're doing. So if you go higher in number, then you're actually going to get a lighter weight thread. So for instance, a 60 weight thread is going to be lighter weight than a 40 weight thread. So why would you want to use a lighter weight thread? Well, if you're embroidering something small or intricate and you need to be able to see the details, then a lighter weight thread is going to be less bulky and you'll probably be able to see the details better. Oftentimes also people use lighter weight threads in the bobbin.
We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
If you go down in number, then that actually means that you're getting a thicker thread. So for instance, a 12 weight is going to be a heavier weight thread than a 40 weight. So why would you use a heavier weight thread? Well, let's say you're embroidering something that you really want to contrast or pop, like red work, or something that doesn't have a lot of stitches, something that's less dense. Then you could use a thicker weight thread to make sure that that really stands out against the background. If you're doing a freestanding design, like freestanding lace or crochet, those can sometimes benefit from having a heavier weight thread because there's more heft and support since it's just the thread that's supporting the project. Fiber content refers to the actual fibers that the thread is made up of. What are those fibers made out of? First fiber content category to talk about is rayon thread. Rayon is a man-made fiber derived from plant cellulose. It's a common choice when embroidering because it has the same shine and luster as silk, but it's stronger than both silk or cotton. It resists shrinkage and fraying a lot better than other fibers. So this is a choice that you want to go with if you want your finished project to be shiny and reflective. Another type of thread fiber is cotton. Cotton is a plant-derived fiber that has a more matte finish in comparison to rayon. It's a good choice when you want your embroidery to pop against a background because it is less reflective, it does stick out more on fabrics. It's also a good choice when you're doing freestanding lace or crochet because it is a little bit more hefty and has more body than rayon, so it'll lend more support to freestanding designs. Another thread choice is polyester. Polyester is a man-made fiber. This is a good choice when cost is a concern. It's a little more cost-effective than natural fibers like rayon or cotton. It's also more color-fast, so it's a good choice when you're embroidering sports jerseys or kids' clothes or anything that's going to get washed a lot. So those were all talking about the upper thread, but what about the bobbin thread? Well, you can actually get specially designated bobbin thread. Bobbin thread for embroidery is generally a lighter weight thread, so for instance a 60 weight. It's usually polyester, which is more cost effective, and it's a good choice when you're not going to see the back of your embroidery. It's usually white or black or comes in a limited range of colors, so you just want to pick the color that blends the best with your fabric. The lighter weight of the bobbin thread helps the upper thread pull to the back and make sure that the front of your project looks awesome. The last type of thread to talk about is metallic thread. Metallic thread is actually made from metal and man-made fibers. It's sparkly and shiny and can be a really fun addition to your embroidery projects. You definitely want to use an embroidery needle when you're embroidering with metallic thread. That's because it has that larger eye which will allow the thread to pass through without shredding or breaking. It's also a good idea to use a thread net with metallic thread. This is because the stiffness of the metallic fibers causes the thread to unspool a little bit quicker than other types of thread. So a thread net just keeps everything under control and nice and orderly as the thread comes off the spool. You can find a thread net in the accessories kit that came with your designer jade. We just covered some of the main categories of embroidery thread. So let's do a quick recap. Thread weight refers to the thickness of the thread. 40 weight is standard. Higher number means thinner thread. Lower number means thicker thread. You have rayon thread, which is shiny and lustrous. You have cotton thread, which is a more matte finish. You have polyester thread, which is a good choice for something that's going to be laundered often. You have bobbin thread, which specifically goes on the bobbin and is a lighter weight to help pull the upper thread to the back. And you have metallic thread, which is sparkly and fun, but you definitely want to use an embroidery needle and a thread net when you're using it. So hopefully that helps demystify the world of thread, and you'll be a little bit less intimidated the next time you go to pick out thread for your embroidery project. Be sure to tune in for the next episode of Machine Embroidery for Beginners, where we talk about stabilizers.